What's up, everybody? This is indeed the E-Man, chilling like a villain, singing like Bob Dylan, keeping on low with some double stuff. Oreos. And right now, Renaissance Man is back. Mr. Judd Winick. I'm talking like, he has, let's see, he has a book that's out now called Hilo. He's worked for DC, Marvel. He's worked for Cartoon Network, Life and Times of Juniper Lee. Um, he's done everything, and he's gracious enough to come back to the show just to say hey and give us an update. How you doing, Judd?
I'm doing excellent, sir. How are you? Thanks for having me back. Pleasure to
Thank
be
you,
here.
man. Yes. So I have the interview that we had. I got to
Yes.
clear up some stuff because I made some errors. Okay. First error: Green Lanterns do not need willpower in order to make their rings work. They need to be, in order to be recruited, they have to have a strong sense of willpower. Is that correct?
I believe so. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a little fast and loose as far as who becomes a Green Lantern. Pretty much, pretty much. I think like if you to make it through the door and for them to give you a ring, you actually just have to have fortitude. I think is sort of just I mean, I always thought. I mean, I always thought it was about being like strong-willed. Someone,
Right.
if you're someone who lacks a certain amount of confidence, you're not going to be able to make the ring work. Now, you might
Right.
have other failings, but it's about good old-fashioned guts. What it is to make you like I can do this, and it might not have anything to do with your personal life, but when it comes down to the heroics of what's needed to be, I think that's what's needed. Fortitude.
Fortitude. Got it. I asked about who would you have cast as Hal Jordan. That was not a shot against Ryan Reynolds. I just want to be clear on that. I think he's an amazing actor, but what I should have said was, what would you have done differently with that movie? I mean,
Hmm.
I think he was when news was going around that they were going to make a Green Lantern movie, and I was like, oh, who's going to have as Hal Jordan? He was the last person on my mind. If
Hmm.
anything, if he's going to be a DC character, I would think, oh well, he'll make a great Wally West. Wally West, based kind of off of Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. But
Hmm.
again, nothing against Ryan Reynolds. I just want to be clear on that. I think he's a great actor. I think
He's
he's an
he's
amazing,
done
good.
fine. I hear
Yeah.
things. I think he's doing okay. I think he's doing just all right. And
Yes.
no, he's been brutally honest about the entire experience of Green Lantern, that he was excited to be a superhero, hadn't he read the script.
Yes.
I think if any of you out there, I think it's still available on YouTube. He did a watch along reaction video of himself watching Green Lantern. I don't know if it's the entire movie, but chunks of it. And he posted it, and everything's like, oh God, this is like, and also like, oh, you know what? That wasn't so bad. That was better than I remembered.
Yeah.
Okay, this doesn't even make sense. It was a rough movie. I mean, in hindsight, I think if you were to throw one huge criticism at it, was that they just tried to do too much.
Yeah.
You know, um, it's a. I mean, he's became Green Lantern. They introduced the core. They introduced, I mean, it's so much going on. It's just too much, too much.
But I will
But
say this.
they'll get another crack at it.
Definitely. I think Mark Strong was amazing as Sinestro, though. I think he was really great as Sinestro.
There's nothing that Mark Strong is not great at.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll even go so far as to say even the worst movies that Mark Strong has ever been in have
Mm.
nothing to do with him, because so like when Mark Strong's on, you're happy. It's like, oh man, he's just great. It's great in everything.
Yeah, yeah. The Kingsman, the Kingsman movies that he's been
Oh,
in, great. I can't
oh,
wait for the sequel or the prequel. It's a
yeah.
prequel, I believe, right?
The prequel.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I'm
Yes.
excited about that too.
Speaking of movies,
Yes.
we talked about Afterlife before it came out, the last interview. Now it's already out, and
Hmm.
I'll be honest with you. So you were recently on Nerdvana, and you did like you were one of the keynote speakers, and I asked
Uh-huh.
about Afterlife and what you thought of it. So just to be clear, there's going to be spoilers. We're going to talk about right now is spoilers as far as
Okay,
Afterlife
so
is
so
concerned.
warning. We're talking about Ghostbusters, new
Yes,
afterlife. So 3, 2, 1, you got to get out because we're gonna talk the talk. I'm
that's
warning
right.
y'all. This is it. Leave. We're gonna talk about the movie. You've been warned. This is
You've
it.
been warned.
Okay,
Uh,
go
I
ahead. They've got it now.
I thought it like it's when I left the theater, I literally had to kind of I had to digest it. You know what I mean? Because there were certain things I
Mhm.
didn't like, and there's certain things that I loved. And then I literally walked to the movie theater to watch it, which is like a 3 mile walk, and then I walked back home. And
Right.
so when I was like a mile off, when I was a mile away from my house, I was like, I get it. I
Hmm.
understand what that movie was all about. It's not even about trying to be better than the original movie because that's never going to happen. It's
Right.
about
Right.
it's a love letter to the fans. It's an
Hmm.
apology to the fans for what came out in 2016, which was crap. And I'm sorry, that movie was crap, guys. I mean, it has nothing to do with the casting of them being 4 women. I have no problem with that. The problem with the 2016 movie that I had was they didn't even attempt to put it in the same universe. You can't have a franchise that's been dormant since '89 and be like, oh, well, this has nothing to do with the previous movies. What are you talking about?
Hmm.
That's a slap in the face to the fan base. Anyway, and it was a love letter and a tribute to Harold Ramis, which was well deserved, and I
Yeah.
enjoyed that a lot. The third act of the movie was great.
Yeah. Really. No, once you well, it's a couple of things. Like one, they decided they were going to make a different kind of movies. This is not a comedy. It's
Right,
funny, but it's like Ghostbusters is a comedy, and it is. It's comedy
through
with
and
like
through.
which happens to have like really interesting and fun action and great science fiction and fantasy stuff thrown in there. But it's a joke machine. That's what's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's Ghostbusters. This was like tonally kind of closer to like Raiders of the Lost Ark, you
Mm,
know, that it's got plenty of jokes in there and it pops along, but it's got some weight to it, but it's not really designed to be a joke machine, despite what was going on there. And yeah, it is fun. It was really exciting. It was far more moving than a lot of us thought it was going to be.
oh yeah.
Um, yeah, no, and I think twofold that for those who have seen it, hopefully you're sticking with us at this point. Harold Ramis, who starred and co-wrote the original two Ghostbusters, so he
Yeah.
passed away a number of years ago, and in this movie, his character has died, which adds a weird weight to it. I thought as well.
Mm-hmm.
In doing the movie, it wasn't. It's much. It's not like the actor just came back to you know, I feel weird even talking about it, but we've warned people enough. He didn't come back just to play a ghost. He's
Right.
left us, but his presence is in the movie. He's in the movie, and it's really, I think, knowing that he's actually passed away added a certain weight to it that was unexpected. And
Yeah.
and I thought McKenna Grace, who's the lead of the movie, was
Fantastic.
crazy great. She's so crazy great. It's like it's really just like and a lot of range. She does different stuff. Like this is totally a different thing going on with her. When
Yeah.
she's little in the Chris Evans movie Gifted, she's awesome. She was in
Yes.
Handmaid's Tale, like a
Uh,
totally different, dark, horrible thing going on there. So it was a lot of it was really moving and fun and deeply interesting. I was surprised. We've seen it twice. So that's
Awesome.
that's yeah, that's where my family's at. Yes.
And there's again, guys, spoilers. There's a part where Ray is talking to McKenna Grace's character. Well, I can't remember McKenna Grace's character's name, but there was a part where
Phoebe
he's taught
saw it
Phoebe,
twice.
yes,
Phoebe.
and he says a line like he says, Egon Spengler, he can go to hell or something like that, right?
Right.
And I wonder, I don't know, I felt like that was kind of like a behind the scenes thing because for folks who don't know, like Bill Murray and Harold Ramis had like a rivalry for a long time.
Yeah,
So
big falling out. There's a huge, huge falling out over. I think Harold Ramis actually couldn't even tell you exactly what the heck happened.
right,
From the interviews that I saw and read, he was either being intentionally vague, but I actually sort of think like he's not 100% sure what made Bill mad at him, but they made peace. But
mm,
they made peace in the end. Bill went to see him when he got sick, and
right,
they made peace. So it's there. It's a little bit there that they, when they're saying goodbye to I'm with you. Like when they're saying goodbye to Egon Spengler on camera,
Yeah,
there's a lot of reality there that I think these were actually some gentlemen who had not spent a lot of time together
yeah.
in the last like 10 to 15 years.
Yes, yes, and and I saw like there were elements because originally there was supposed to be a third movie, and it was supposed to be about the actually Ghostbusters going to hell, then coming back, and then from what I understand, recruiting a whole new line of Ghostbusters.
Huh.
Um, and that never happened because evidently Bill Murray didn't like it, and so they never made
Mm-hmm.
that third movie. And so
He
there
might
were
not
some
have been
elements of
wrong.
hell in that film. What do you say?
He might not have been wrong. I
Right.
mean, I mean, you've seen the second. I mean, yeah, have you seen the second Ghostbusters movie?
Yes.
No, no,
I didn't
not a
hate it
great movie.
though.
What's that?
I didn't hate the second movie.
Oh no, it's not. No, no, no. I didn't say I hate it. It's just like this Ghostbusters was an amazing movie, and then
Mhm.
this thing which is it has like moments of like okay, this is fun, and then there's like moments of pure crap, like really terrible. Like this is a rotten movie. There's a rotten thing going on here. Like you guys like this feels like you could have spent more than a day writing this scene. This is just terrible movie. Yeah, and so the idea, I'm sure I understand without even knowing anything for Bill Murray to say like we're not doing a third Ghostbusters. Why? The second one made a lot of money. Like it wasn't. I no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
But
I get
you
it.
know what? But I love this is gonna sound strange. I love the character of Yanich in the second one, played by Peter
Sure, it's
McNichol.
ridiculous. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Yeah, yeah.
No photographs. No, no. I love his character.
It's not a subtle performance. It's very very funny. It's all. I mean, and actually, I think that character was probably written because Rick Moranis wasn't going to come back. And he didn't come back for this either, but he isn't. He's retired. You know that story, right? That
Yeah,
Rick
yeah.
Moranis, that he retired a number of years ago because his wife passed away,
Right.
and
Take care of his kids.
he yeah, no, he left the business to raise his children.
Yeah.
And and there's something really there's something really really wonderful about that. I understand that. So I think
Super
he's
admirable.
yeah,
Super.
yeah, and even for like Ghostbusters, like if he comes back, he's not coming back for a cameo in a
Right.
movie that's like yeah, he'll come back and do something substantial, I guess. And I understand that. Anyway, we're all over the place. Still talking about
Yes.
Ghostbusters.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, it was great. It was great.
Yeah, it was a great movie. I wanted to ask because of the MCU and these comic book movies. I think it's to me, because I collected comic books in the '90s, and back then I was almost laughed at for doing that. Now it's so lucrative. People wearing Marvel shirts. I I had a conversation with a
Yeah.
young man. 'Cause I was working at a grocery store at the time, and he had a Marvel shirt on. I was like, and it was one of those Marvel shirts with all the characters on there. I
Uh-huh.
was like, oh, that's so cool. I said, do you know who those people are? He's like, well, I think this guy is Batman, and he pointed to Wolverine. I was like, oh no. I
Just
said,
I want to beat you. I just want to I
I,
want to take something out and just beat you down just so hard. That's
dude, I said,
Batman. Just yeah.
I
No,
said,
it's funny. It was I don't know. It was probably about 10 years ago
yeah,
when it started to happen in such a big way where some ridiculous looking actor or actress would say like, "Oh, I was such a nerd in high school. I was so into comic books," and like, sure you were. Yeah, right. Oh, I'm sure you were just some big nerd. You were. Then they dig out a picture of them from high school and they look exactly the same. Like, nah, man, you were just some beautiful person. Man, you didn't crack a comic ever. You were not nerdy. You were not up. Give me a break. Yeah, it's funny how geek culture, nerd culture has
yeah,
swung so far into the mainstream. I'm 51, and when I was a kid, I read comics pretty much in a vacuum, meaning just on my own. My dad bought me comics when I was a kid, and then I got the hankering early. Like my dad is a 76, so he grew up like his favorite comic book was Shazam, Captain Marvel,
nice.
way back, even more so than Superman. So so he was reading comics in the 50s.
Right,
Um, and that's also when like an issue of Captain Marvel would sell 1 million copies a month. It was
right.
everything. It was everywhere. Yeah.
It was
So my dad got me
huge.
into comics, and I grew up reading them, but I did not know anybody else who read them, and you certainly didn't talk about them. And I grew up in the era that we went from the spinner racks, which were in like convenience stores like 7-Eleven and the supermarket,
Hmm.
over to when comic book stores started finally opening. I mean, I remember with amazement, I think it was seventh grade. Uh, uh, there was a kid in my class who I remember he like busted out a comic, and it was Teen Titans. He
Oh,
took it out of like a plastic bag, and he was carefully reading it. I was like, that's someone like reading comics in public. I had never seen anything like this before. You know, someone reading comics. It just killed me. Like, wow,
wow.
okay. And it's like so what are you reading? It's like Titans. I said, yeah, I mostly read X-Men. And we talked about it a little bit, and then we would talk about comics a little bit. Not in a big way, just like little hushed tones.
Right.
And that was it. And now, starting with, you know, the slow build of, a couple of superhero movies, starting with Tim Burton's Batman,
Yes.
into Blade, into, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, and then Iron Man. And at some point, then, yeah, no, then suddenly, oh no, I love all that nerdy stuff. Like,
And it's like even with this new Spider-Man movie coming out, it's like a few weeks away. And the thing I'm really that's really starting to get on my nerves a little bit is like people just won't let the movie come out. I'm like, look, it's a few weeks
yeah,
away. Stop nitpicking everything, trying to figure out if Toby's in it or not. Just there's no
yeah. Well,
anticipation anymore.
I've actually reached my saturation point pretty much with the last trailer, that like my heart couldn't take it anymore. Like I can't even discuss it anymore. I think I had a very loud discussion with my nephew. Just he's 15, and he was insisting that Andrew Garfield and Tom McGuire are not going to be in the movie. And I said, okay, yes, they are. And he goes like, no, Kevin Feige. And he's like going burning up his phone and said here that it's like, okay, he didn't say Tom McGuire and Andrew Garfield are not going to be in the movie. So they're going to be in the movie. I said,
They have to be.
what he's trying to do is pull it back, because my belief as a fan, as a storyteller, is that the movie's not about them. They're going to
Right.
show up late in the story when it's
Yes.
fun. Like in the bottom of the second act, top of the third act, they're part of the climax. That for
Yes.
Spider-Man to beat the bad guys, the Spider-Men have to, and I'm sorry to ruin this for anybody, because this is probably how it's going to go down. I just think this is how it's going to go down. But yeah, but I'm with you. The nitpickiness, and also the fact that I think they're probably not going to let the press see the movie ahead of time. That, and I'm going to have to, like, all of us who care, we'll have to
Yes.
like not pick up our phones from starting at Thursday at like 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and like total media blackout. No one talk to me. Everyone leave
Dude.
the TV off. Don't look at YouTube. Can't even open YouTube
Dude.
because
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
yeah, no, and like I know, like Friday night, my family, we usually wait till Saturday, and I told them this year we can't.
You
It's
can't.
like we can't, and it's like,
You
well,
can't.
I don't care. It's like nope. Someone's gonna spoil everything.
Dude,
Strangers
it
on the street are
happens.
come running up to you, ruining it.
It happens every time. I'm talking like I was something told me, my spider senses told me like the day before something told me I need to watch Endgame on Thursday. But I said, nope, I'm gonna wait until Friday morning. I'm gonna have everything prepared. I was ready, right? How
Mm-hmm.
about I'm going to the movie theater. Before I go to the movie theater, I pick up some chicken tenders or whatever, right? I look on Instagram and
Oh,
Robert Downey Jr. posts something saying, thanks for all of the good times. Love you 3000. And he has some like he was posing in some kind of weird Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure pose. I was like, oh no. I said, no. I said, he's not gonna die. And but still, it didn't take away from that movie. That I'm talking like Judd, I watched that movie 9 times in the movie theater. I took full advantage of my AMC A list because the first time I watched it, it was like an outer body experience. When he said on your left
uh,
and they all came out, I was like on the verge of tears, man. It was just a view. I don't know if you seen Endgame, right?
Not only to see Endgame, it was my son's birthday party. So no, so I bought the
Wow.
tickets like I don't know, so a month and a half or 2 months before that. Um, and so uh my wife, my daughter, my son, and 15 of his friends and a couple of their
Nice.
parents. We went and saw it like Saturday morning ish. So and so fresh crowd, hot crowd, way into this, packed crowd, and it was like, in my opinion, like perfect movie going experience. They were screaming and
Absolutely.
yelling in all the right places. Everyone was shocked and just floored in the right way. When he says on your left, the whole place goes bananas and just screaming. And when Cap gets the hammer, like I was
Oh,
so I was so happy to be in a theater where they started screaming. And we're
yes.
screaming, applauding, like, man, I'm getting goosebumps again just thinking about it.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I'm knocking wood, I can only hope at some point that we get an experience like that. And it's also why it's important that people mind their p's and q's and like don't spoil stuff. Just keep it to yourself. Let people experience it for the first time in the
Yes.
movie. Uh, it's getting bad. I mean, I
Really
think it was
bad.
just I won't even talk about it exactly. At the end of Eternals, there's a post credit scene
Yes.
that a reporter from Vanity Fair like walked out of the screening they were in
No.
and blew it. Like just tweeted it,
No.
like tweeted out like who this cameo was and this introduction of this new character. And I'd avoided that for like a couple of weeks until I got to see the movie. It's like, yeah, that's just it didn't affect the plot of the movie, but
Right.
it's really it's shameful shit. It's just there's no need, there was just no need to do that. And I think that's a lot like let it can we just relax and let because part of being in a movie
Mhm.
and part of a story is the twists and turns. And sometimes big things happen. So let
Yes.
people just have the big things. You can talk about so many other things, you know. Uh, so we'll see.
Which, by the way, I think that movie got a lot of hate, but I enjoyed that movie. I really
I
liked
love
the turn.
I loved it. My
Yeah.
family is split down the middle on
Yeah.
it. I really, really enjoyed it. Um, we would have gone to see it again, except half my family was not that interested. I'm eagerly waiting to watch it again. Um, so many things so many things I liked about the movie. I've debated my own a lot of friends who are fellow storytellers as well who didn't like it.
Really.
No, it's just it's deeply interesting actually.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes it gets like really really aggravating to discuss a movie or five with people who might not like it for this reason. I found this debate really interesting because people were really divided,
They
and
were.
I yeah, I'm trying to crack the code of like what didn't you like about it, and it's like that was really really long. Like okay, whatever. It's like I'm done with you. Like that's not an answer. Um, and like it's like, well, I didn't think the characters were properly developed. Like, were they? I thought we had a lot. Like, well, no, a lot of these like it's like I found it to be an interesting conversation
Yeah.
more so than a lot of pure. I just thought that would suck, you know. Um, so I'm with you. I liked Eternals. I liked it quite a bit.
I liked the Eternals. I enjoyed Shang-Chi quite a bit. I wasn't
Yeah,
really I really wasn't hip on Black Widow only because I thought the timing was off. I think if they would have made Black Widow like right after Civil, I mean, had Civil right after Civil War, and I
it would have had a greater impact for
impact.
sure. It would have
Yeah.
felt rather than the prequel they got us. But I heard arguments, and actually, I tend to agree when I thought about it. I don't know if they would have made as good a movie if they made it back when, like, if it was right after Civil War. I think that we've
Hmm.
learned a little bit more about storytelling. I don't think that she would have been as they would done her they would I don't think they've done her as well. I think they were probably a little more conscious about the fact that I don't know. I think here and there she would have they would have leaned heavily on a couple of the women being damsel in distress here and there. I think they were probably, this was a movie about superheroes,
Yeah.
and we didn't get into a lot of sort of like dopey gender crap that often happens
Yeah.
with older movies that the women are weaker or they need help or they're the ones who are kind of threatened.
Yeah.
None of that was in Black Widow. I'm with you though that the fun way, 20 years from now, when young people get to watch it, it's like, yeah, no, put that one in order. Put it where, watch that one right after Civil War where you're supposed to. Well,
Yeah.
but you can't. Oh, you can't because it spoils Endgame. Never mind.
Mm,
Don't
yeah.
do that. If anybody digs this up and is watching this 20 years from now, don't do that. Watch it the way the way they came out.
Yes.
Not unlike the Star Wars prequels. One of my
Oh,
favorite stories about Star Wars.
what's that?
Well, I've many, but about the prequels, there was this is a friend of a friend told me this story, that there was this dad who was introducing his kid to Star Wars. So he thought, I'm going to show him in order, meaning that I'm going to show him first the prequels, so they go chronologically, and then we'll go to Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, onto
Yeah.
Star Wars, Empire, Return of the Jedi. So he's watching with his son, and he's digging the prequels. And then when they got to Empire Strikes Back, and they've already watched the prequels, and Yoda shows up, and Yoda's being really goofy with
Right.
Mark Hamill, and Dad's like, he's like laughing. He's looking over at his son, who's like 8 or 9, and is horrified, like really upset. He goes, "What happened to Yoda?" He goes, "What do you mean? What happened to Yoda? Like, he's like crazy now. Did he lose his mind or something? Did he like, oh no, he's," and we know that like Yoda is like pretending to be a befuddled old creature opposed to like the venerable Jedi. This kid had seen Yoda for 3 movies be Yoda, Master Jedi, and now he thinks he's here with dementia or something. And he found it to be really, really upsetting. And so Dad's like, no, I screwed that up. So anytime anyone asks me, should we watch them in order? Like, no. Star Wars, Empire, Return of the Jedi, then the prequels, just as they came out.
Yeah, and when you say Star Wars, and kind of going back to what we were talking about before about like being spoiled by stuff, and like that. Yep. I've come to grips with something. I've come to grips with this fact: the new stuff that comes out, maybe that's just not for me.
Sure,
I'm not the demographic, because like when I watched the prequel, well, not the prequels, when I watched the new ones, Force Awakens and the other 2, Force Awakens I thought was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? And I was spoiled by that too. I went on Facebook. Han Solo gets killed. What? You know what I'm saying? But I've just come to grips like some of the new stuff maybe isn't for me, and that's cool. So
no, it's not. It's not cool. It's not cool. it is supposed to be for you. No, you can be outraged. It's okay. It's okay not to like things. Like when we were, I think it's perfectly okay. I'll put it another way.
Okay.
How great is The Mandalorian? Oh. Yeah, right. So I also think what's going to be interesting is that so Dave Filoni, who is a genius storyteller, and for those playing at home, he was the creative force behind the Clone Wars animated series. So we can argue until the cows come home that the prequels have some weak storytelling in there. We'll leave it at that. Okay, right. There's some weak storytelling in the prequels to the Star Wars. Dave Filoni looked at those stories and took a lot of the good from it and created the Clone Wars and made some really interesting story. Yeah, just coming out of like between Attack of the Clones and before Revenge of the Sith. This is a story I'm going to tell. And he mined a lot of really interesting things, which made it like really interesting. Wow. And similarly with The Mandalorian, right now they're hinting at that The Mandalorian is a prequel to the new trilogy. That that Grogu, Baby Yoda, was kidnapped because they're trying to get, I don't know, his Force DNA, his power or whatnot. Because they're spoilers, Mandalorian spoilers, second trilogy spoilers, Force Awakens on up. So you've been warned if you haven't watched Star Wars movies or The Mandalorian, get out. But why would they even be here? I don't even know why they would even be. It's not a book club. Yeah. So I think they're building a story of how Palpatine came back. And they're working through that, because we already saw that they were, they're doing cloning and stuff. Anyway, I think it's really, really interesting that Dave Filoni looks at like, Yeah. Okay, that might not have worked for a lot of people, but I think there's good stuff there, and I'm going to make it work. So I think going forward, Mandalorian, Osaka, the I don't know whatever they're going to be doing with Obi-Wan Kenobi, whatever
Yeah,
that series is going to be.
and the Boba Fett
Um,
thing too. The book of Boba,
and Boba
something.
Fett. How could I forget? Yes, yes. My kids are literally counting the days. Me
Oh,
too. Also, just it's good stuff. So
yeah.
feel free to crap on the things you don't like and embrace the things you do. It's okay. And there's crapping on, and then there's being fair, like, yeah, I like this didn't work for me, I didn't like this because of that, but I do like this. It's you're allowed. you know I
I
mean,
appreciate that.
there are things where I'll go so far as like Teen Titans Go, as a like, if you don't like Teen Titans Go because you like the original, like 1970s and 80s, uh you know George Perez and Marv Wolfman run on Teen Titans, like, okay, well, guess what, this little comedy series, not for you.
Right.
Okay, that's like, and you don't have to get mad that they dared put this out in the world. It's
Right.
okay. It's okay. It's just a different version. It's just a different version.
And just to ask you something, because when the last interview we talked, you said that
Yes,
your favorite mutant was Wolverine. So I'm gonna ask you the
sure.
$1 million question. MCU owns now X-Men and Fantastic Four. So Kevin Feige comes up to you and like, okay, Judd, who would you cast as Wolverine? Nothing against Hugh Jackman because I think he's great, but
Hmm.
I have a feeling they're going to recast all of the X-Men. Who would you cast as Wolverine in your opinion? Like who
Well,
would you
first, then I'd ask him was like, well, okay. First question, Kevin. You are bringing Hugh Jackman back for a little bit because of the multiverse, right? One
right
time. You're gonna bring him back one time, right?
one
No, no, I'm not even telling you anything until you tell me Hugh Jackman's come back one time, Kevin Feige. I'm not gonna tell you until I want to know that. Um, After that, um, I don't know. It's what's deeply interesting is that uh, because superhero comics have gotten so mainstream,
mm-hmm.
um, and really A-list, capital A actors are stepping in there and like, yeah, I'm gonna do the superhero movie. Why? Because actually the scripts are good, the stories are fun, you
Yes,
know, and people are people. I'm sure, like, they're gonna pay me a gargantuan amount of money, and I can then do anything else I want. If I play Doctor Strange for 4 or 5 years, whatever.
right.
So um, they'll absolutely. I don't know who the next Wolverine will be, but we're all guessing like how they're going to do it. Is this going to be a multiverse thing where suddenly the mutant universe of the previous incarnation is now merged with the one we have? Is it a separate pocket universe? Do we start
Yes,
over? Are they, as a little bit from column A, a little bit from column B? Does somebody from the old school get yanked into our universe and they stay? And
right.
they're the ones who are gonna, do we have is it James McAvoy? Did I have that right? Who
Yeah,
played Professor X? Like, does he get plunked into and dropped into our universe? Because, like, he's not 25 anymore. He's actually of a real kind of choice age to be, Professor X, like, right now. And
yeah.
maybe he starts the school over again. Like, I don't know. This so now they've opened up the multiverse. Secret Wars, Fantastic Four, Galactus.
Oh my
I can
gosh.
bear some days I can barely sleep just thinking about it. Because when
I
I was a kid, I would have gone without food for the opportunity for this to actually come onto the screen in this real way.
Isn't it
The I,
crazy?
no, no, I was rewatching the Avengers with my son and a buddy of his, a buddy who had not had a chance to see it. And I still remember going to the theater thinking, like, I can't believe this is happening. I can't
Dude.
believe it's like, because when I was a kid, the greatest thing ever was, like, an issue of a comic where all the heroes kind of came together a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh my goodness, the Fantastic Four are in here with the Avengers and the X-Men.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the greatest
Mind
thing ever.
blowing.
And now, yeah, and now that's why I'm so excited about Spider-Man. It's like, yeah, no, we're gonna we're gonna put them all in the pot. I actually, as I'll even go further with some of my guesstimations, that I
Okay.
totally think Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield absolutely 100% come back. I cannot imagine they won't, because if they weren't, Kevin Feige would be having a press conference with them saying they will not be in this movie
Right.
at all, ever. But I think they're also going to have a couple other surprises. I
Oh
think
yeah.
some really amazing. I mean, my confidence. I mean, there's a funny. Just look up like fan expectation Spider-Man No Way Home poster, and
Yeah,
on the
I seen
poster
that.
it's got Godzilla and King Kong and the Terminator and
Yeah, yeah.
Gandalf
You
and
did the
Harry
Jalpa.
Potter and like, and I'm a little in that school. Like I'm expecting a little bit more. I'm expecting one or two things which makes me go, and I think they know that too.
Yeah.
I believe this is if I heard this correctly, it has sold more pre-sale tickets than any movie in history, like more so than any of the Star Wars movies.
Really?
Um, yeah, I think they're not even quite done counting up all the tickets that got sold. Like theaters are sold out, sold out, sold out. And every time another day goes by, another theater sells out. And
Do you have
I
your
know I
tickets?
myself, yeah, for 2 days, for the Friday it
Nice.
comes out, and then like Monday after that, when
Nice.
we're going out of town for the holidays. Like, yeah, when we get to LA, we're gonna go see it that Monday again,
Oh
unless it's
gosh.
terrible, which it won't be. You know,
You are so
um,
lucky to be living in that area and get to see the movies like in that area. That's cool. I just want to drop something for you real quick. Okay. So
yeah,
this is my thing. This is something that, first of all, I want to say this. We're living in an amazing time where we have a Hawkeye series, we have a
yeah,
freaking WandaVision series, which was great.
they're
But
great.
I was
They're
I
really
was
great.
I was a little disappointed in it, only because I'm like, okay, this is a perfect time for them to kind of even just say the word mutants. They don't, just say mutants. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping Kevin Feige just uses Disney Plus as an opportunity to kind of use that to kind of, I mean, because mutants are everywhere. I mean, they're huge. I mean, there's so
Oh
many
yeah,
beyond the X-Men. There's X-Force, there's X-Factor, there's Excalibur.
there's a plan. There's absolutely a plan. That's why
Yes.
when I saw that and said like, okay, we didn't kick the door open. They're cooking something up. And I think it has a multiverse thing. I think so. I mean, it's what's what's great about going back to Spider-Man,
Yeah.
the animated movie Into the Spider-Verse. I
Ooh.
think it taught us that like the regular mainstream public can understand the idea of a multiverse. Like, yeah,
Absolutely.
here's like five spider people, and they did a great job explaining it. So with that, now when people see like, oh no, there's two Wolverines, like okay, yeah,
You're
like
right.
it's like
Exactly.
he's from an alternate reality. Like you'll find you know, some 50-year-old guy who's never read a comic, or he said, you read comics as a kid? Yeah, Richie Rich. He understands what the multiverse is. Like, no, he's just like from another reality or something. Like, yeah, 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 you got it. So
Absolutely. And just to
it'll
just to put
happen.
my 2 cents out there, if they're gonna cast
Please do.
Wolverine and huh?
Who do you want? Who's your dream cast for Wolverine?
My dream cast Wolverine is either one or two people. Taron Egerton from
Think it'd be
from
great.
Kingsman.
Yeah, he'd be great. Yeah.
And it's really convenient because like if they were to do it within the next 2 years, he'll be about the same age as Hugh Jackman when he first started out as Wolverine.
Yeah.
Um, in a perfect world, if they can get him to commit to it, and if they're thinking about choosing somebody any age, I think Scott can is low. I mean, like he looks like Logan. I mean, he's 5'4", he's gruff, he smokes cigars, he looks just like Logan. And then if they can get him to commit to it, I think Shia LaBeouf would be great too. I mean, I know that sounds weird, but if they can get Shia
No,
LaBeouf
you
to,
know what? He would. Because
yeah,
I mean, because and I don't mean this in any way to crap on him. Like he is so intense and committed.
yeah,
So he would go the full Hugh Jackman route. He would not eat bread and just eat chicken breast and work out for a day to turn himself into a monster. And
yeah.
he would be unrecognizable when he steps on screen. Like, oh my God, look at he just and he would be really, really interesting. I mean,
Yes.
that's we'll see. We'll see
Oh
what
yeah.
they do. We'll see. It's we live in a magical time as far as this stuff. It's really
Super
it's fun.
magical.
I
And
mean,
and you know, yeah.
tomorrow we get another episode of Hawkeye, the
Oh
TV
God.
series that
Have
I'm
you been
managing
watching
to
it?
give a shit about. Oh, watching it, love it. I'm just saying, like when I was a kid, like there's going to be a Hawkeye TV series one day. It's like, you're gonna love it, right? No, really, it's like
Exactly.
no, it's fine. Like it's like why? What's wrong with Hawkeye? It's like he's like the least interesting guy in the Avengers. It's fine, you know. It's fine. And I'm talking about like 11-year-old me. Like
Yes.
whatever, Hawkeye. You know. But they're doing stuff. It's a lot of fun. I look forward to it.
Me too, man. And just I just want people to understand, like people who don't read comics and think, and got into the comic book world through the movies and think, oh, Thanos, snapping his fingers and eliminating half the earth is, people think that's amazing. I
Mm-hmm.
want people to understand this. If Storm were to go berserk, she could
Mm-hmm.
wipe out half of humanity right then and there. She's that Storm, Bobby Drake. Bobby Drake
Mm-hmm.
can
Mm-hmm.
just do a cold snap, just like, I mean, if he had that, I mean, there's some mutants out there that are so powerful, they can make
Yeah,
Thanos look like nothing.
in the last 10 years they had I think there's like the top tier mutants have a name. I forget what they're called, like omegas or whatever. There are
Omega, yeah.
some. Yeah, is that it? It's omegas. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that is there. That's I was also impressed with the MCU that they're being very careful about that too, like pointing out like who is our top tier, like like level of godhood can like take out half a planet, you know, heroes. You've got Thor, you've got Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, she's about at the top. I mean, my kids love, particularly my daughter, love the scene when Captain Marvel is fighting Thanos. You know, uh,
That was so cool.
and he had to cheat to win. But even more so than that, they love it when Wanda is about to kill Thanos in Endgame.
Dude,
Like is a breath away from she is about to kill him, and he decides to kill half of his troops just to get away because he is so scared. We look like it's the only time he's scared. This is it. This is it. And I gotta say, my daughter who 11 or 12 when she saw it, she's 13 now. It's still like her favorite part. She loves that like it's Wanda you don't expect. It's like, and she's like, and make a point of it now. And that's I think a lot of that was in WandaVision too. Like, you
yes.
know, she had a nervous breakdown and completely altered reality. Like she's kind of top tier. So anyway, we're all over the place. If anyone
Yes.
else is watching this besides us, I hope you're enjoying a couple of geeks going off on the MCU in the good way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want and just ask you, you said you had an upcoming project. I know you have another Hilo book coming out, but you have this other project that's coming out that's really cool as well. Because I watched you on the Nerdvana.
Uh-huh.
Yes. What are some of the upcoming projects you got coming out?
I don't know what's going to be next year, the year after that. So I'm doing a new series. It's called The Mighty, which I did talk about at Nerdvana that I wrote the first draft well over a year ago and came up with it like 2 years ago. It sounds similar to Pixar's new movie, Big Red. Big Red? I think it's
Turning
Big
Red.
Red. Turning Red. Thank you. So this is about a little girl named Miranda. She's about 12 years old, and she discovers that she can turn into a big furry monster. And she does what any kid would do when they find out they turn into a big furry monster. She does not tell her parents, and she fights crime. Our story, I mean, my story is a little bit more somewhere between, Hulk and Spider-Man. It's a full-on superhero story, even more so than Hilo. So I'm not as concerned about Turning Red because I don't think she fights crime. I think it's kind of a coming of age story. But anyway,
Yes.
that's what it's about. And I wrote and drew the first one, but I'm going to be collaborating with another cartoonist who we have not found yet, because I can only write and draw one book a year. It's all I can manage. So that's going to be Hilo. So The first Mighty book, I'm going to write and draw. Second one after that, I'll be writing, and someone else will be drawing it. And I'm excited.
Yeah.
This one's a lot of fun because it is more of just a straight ahead superhero story in a lot of ways. I mean, Hilo is still a superhero story. That's how I always described it to folks, as a superhero story in disguise. You
Yeah.
know, he's got his costume, got his insignia, flies around, shoots lasers out of his hands. Superhero story. This one is full on secret identity, fighting crime in a city. People don't know who she is, and it'll be fun.
I can't wait. I can't wait. And the new Hilo book comes out in February,
In
right?
February. Yep, this
Yes.
February. Pretty much
Cool.
every February for the rest of my life is pretty much that's the plan. New book.
Cool. Cool. Excellent, man. Excellent. 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 Having just one more question. How's
Sure.
Pam and the kids?
They're great. They're really, really great. We're good. We are still living through it,
Yes.
as we all do. I think we're all like 10 steps forward, 3 steps back. Who knows? Maybe next week we'll find out like Omicron isn't nearly as bad. Right today, as you and I sit here today, we're hearing like it's not too bad. It's like it's like
Yeah.
it's as contagious as Delta, but not nearly as potent, I guess is a word to use. That's today. But they're good. For those playing at home, we're talking about my wife and kids. My kids are in school right now. What time is it? They're going to be on their way home soon. And we're good. We are, like many of us, just getting through this. It's why I think a lot of us love these crazy off the wall superhero stories so dang much that it's a lot. It's a fun thing to cling to and to turn to and have a little bit of fun, a little bit of drama, a little bit of excitement.
Yes.
And not watch the news just for a little bit.
Yes, it's an escape. I have this argument all the time with my brother-in-law, and he'll make a complaint. Some of these superhero movies aren't realistic. I'm like, they're not really supposed to be. I mean, it's a form of escape. If you want realism, just watch the news. I mean, this is a time to escape.
But I think what I love about it, I mean, the other side of that argument is that I think what we as like older comic readers are enjoying about it is that a lot of folks are learning what we've always known, that once you get past the silly costumes and a lot of the superpowers and the people fighting, the things blowing up, there's actual characters here.
Yes.
And that's actually the stuff we love. We actually really, that, I mean, like Storm is this amazing character who, in all deference to, like, it's not Halle Berry's fault that she was underwritten and like they didn't do a lot with her.
Right.
But that's a character who, like, she's an amazing character that so little has been done. And I'm excited for the MCU to finally get a hold of her. And like, are they going to weave her into Wakanda somewhat? I mean, she, are they going to do the full story that she was a kid on the street who was a thief, and then she got her powers and then was like worshipped as a goddess because she could control the weather. And like, are we going to do that? Because it would be cool. That would be like that's the coolest part of the story. Not that she can control the weather. It's the fact that, for a period of time, she, lived in Africa for like, I don't know, from the time she was 12 to the time she was like 18, 19, and was worshipped as a deity, when she wasn't. She was a mutant, but like, it makes for a great story. And I, as like, a big old geek, like, I really hope they do that and do it well, because, oh man, it's such a great fun story. So it's character.
I have some anxiety about like the Black Panther project, because I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. When I found out Chadwick Boseman passed away, I cried. It took like 2 days, but I cried like a baby, because it's just like it affected me so much, man. And I was like, what are they gonna do? And I said, I don't really want them to recast.
No,
I just
right.
It
was a heartbreak, because it was done so well, so perfectly well. And also you can sort of like, so excited, like, you read the same things I do, that Ryan Coogler is planning on doing it. He said this is gonna be like Star Wars for Black kids. I'm gonna do a trilogy.
Wow.
I'm gonna do trilogy, and he knew exactly where they were going, and this is going past just the heartbreak of his friends and family and loved ones who lost him.
Yeah.
I am talking about this incredible. I'm purely just talking about the incredible story that they were not going to get an opportunity to tell because they lost him. And I agreed. You couldn't recast him because it was too soon, and
Yeah.
he was too big, a person, a character, an actor, too big,
Yeah.
too much. That you got to go in another direction. And now, yes, I hear the same things that you're hearing, that all these shenanigans going on in the set, and I'll say this.
Yeah.
I trust Ryan Coogler as a storyteller,
Yeah.
100%. He has all my sympathy and energy and love. The fact that it seems that he has now had to go back to the drawing board
Yeah.
at least a third time now on this. At first, first with Chadwick Boseman, they lost him and they refigured it all out and reworked it.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, okay, so Siri's going to be Black Panther, and now through logistical craziness that can't happen. He's got to okay, one,
That has to
one
be
more time.
difficult. Crazy.
I actually think, one, it's going to be an amazing story. Then two, maybe he tells us like some of the other things he had in mind. Because it's hard. It's hard. We just watched Black Panther again about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids were pushing, let's watch Black Panther. I feel like we just saw it, we just watched it like a month before that. No, come on, all right, fine. I'm totally in here again. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how it's like. I thought I'll sit and watch it with you for 10 minutes, and it's like it's this perfect movie. It's just on every level,
Yeah.
And luckily it kind of stands on its own. That's the
It
thing,
really
is that
does. It really does.
if they were never ever to make any more, it's sort of no, it's Anyway, I babbled along about Black Panther. I'm with you. I have faith, though. I have faith in Ryan Coogler. It's gonna do some things, man.
Absolutely. Okay. I know you can. I know you can answer the Wolverine question, but the Fantastic Four question: who do you see? And that's only 4 people. So who do you see cast in that movie? I'm excited, man. Though. I'm really excited.
I don't know. You know what? Who somebody posted that it should be like the cast of The Good Place. Like all 4 of them. It's like, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, they would be great. They're actually, with the Fantastic Four, there's so many terrific actors that they can go for. It's just sort of like, what direction can you take it in? Are we starting off have they already been around? Is Reed Richards 35 and change? Or is he are we coming up on him at 26? And what's funny, oh my God, what's so funny, with these knucklehead billionaires sending their spaceships out into space, the whole idea of 420 somethings launching their own spacecraft, into outer space, and then something screwed up happened. That's no longer a big idea. That's sort of oh yeah, no, you got the time and money, you can make your own spaceship, sure. So I do not know. I'm hoping they take advantage of the fact that I hope it's diverse. I hope it's interesting people. I hope they mix it up a little bit. There's so many ways you can go. I assume it's going to fit into the MCU. That's what I also hope they do.
Yes.
It fits in there. Something
I hope
they set
don't
up.
shoehorn him in. I don't want that, because they did that with Spider-Man. It's like they shoehorned him in through Civil War. And I thought it worked, but it was, I was like, they could have did that a different way. But hey, I still love Tom Holland and Spider-Man. To me,
that was the thing, is that if they hadn't knocked it out of the park so hard, I probably would have an issue with it. But from the moment he popped on screen, it's like, oh my God, it's finally Spider-Man. He's a kid. Yes. He sounds like a kid.
Yeah.
This is so, oh my God, so good. It's so good. So yeah, I kind of hope that they figure out some organic thing. At some point, they might do it to us. At some point, we're watching a movie and someone will say yeah, I just want you to meet our head of development, Reed Richards. And then in some quasi big-ish actor, someone we've seen before, like strolls on screen, we've seen nothing, and everyone falls over dead. Like, like I know I will. I hope they do it just like that. I hope they do it just like that. Someone strolls on like Reed Richards, and then at the end of the movie, the after credit, you meet Sue, you meet Johnny, you meet Ben, and we're all like,
Dude, I will
they
lose
will
my
do that.
mind.
I'm telling you, I thought of that just sitting here in my stupid studio. I'm sure they're thinking of cool stuff. It'll be something cool like that.
Yes,
We can hope. We can hope.
I hope so. Gosh, man, such a pleasure talking to you. Thanks again for. I just want to say thank you though for not only doing what you're doing right now, this interview that we're doing, but just thank you for being my guest a few months back. You know, I know you're a busy man, and I truly meant what I said. Like, I feel like I'm just talking to one of my buddies at home. Like, you know, we this is the I'm like, I never, like, I used to work at a movie theater, and my buddies also worked at, it was like one of the best work experiences of my life. We would watch something like X3, which was and we would just clown it. We would clown it. I mean, isn't
that fun? Isn't that fun? I mean, that's I've been talking to my when Cats came out, okay, the movie Cats. So one of our good friends went and saw it 3 times, and I was explaining to the kids, like, no, you don't understand. Sometimes it's a really good bad movie. It can't be boring. It can't be boring, but it can stink up the joint, and you can have fun with it. And at X3, there's an odor. There's an odor. There's a lot of crap in that movie. It's like, the
Kelsey Grammer's Beast. That was awesome.
Yeah, no, it's a good fit. Like a lot, like there in the crappiest of the superhero movies, there's moments in there. You know, I haven't seen them. I'm sure there's really good moments in both Venom movies. I have not seen them. I'm sure. Yeah. You're probably purist like me. Like, how does this work without Spider-Man?
Exactly.
It's like, I can't get in there. I'm sorry. And all deference to everyone who may be watching this, who worked on the movie in some way, shape, or form. I can't get in there without Spider-Man. Now, I understand you might try to fix it. I've seen the after credits of Venom 2. And that something's going to happen. Okay, great, fine. I'm ready. I'm ready. Go ahead and fix that. That'll work for me.
I refused. Like, I'm not watching that. It doesn't even make any sense. It was just them trying to hold on to the property and just keep on making. I mean, why?
Yeah, it's just some monster movie, and it's like, it's fine. You know, I guess someday I'll watch it on cable at some point, and like, maybe, I don't know, like, maybe we'll find out. Maybe I don't think it's boring, and I bet it's fun to have fun with it. You know, if you go in, like, I saw the first Transformers movie. Not my thing. Not really my thing. And, I understand, like, if you're a 10-year-old boy watching the giant robots and whatnot, it's the greatest. And it's like, okay, I'm good. I don't have to watch it, but I understand it's fun. It's not Shakespeare. All I say is, forget that's not in Shakespeare. It's it's not any number of the MCU movies. It's not even up there. But anyway, but have some fun. It's okay.
It's okay to have fun. I wanted to ask you real quick about Red Hood, because like before, the ending of Red Hood is it's kind of heartbreaking. So for some people, that might be their first animated heartbreak. What was your first animated heartbreak? Like, you watched animated something that made you feel a certain way that brought on emotion.
Let's see. Well, a lot of let's see. There was when I was a kid. There's a stop motion Christmas special. It was Nestor the long-eared mule.
Okay, I don't think I remember that.
Oh, Nestor's mom dies in like the first 10 minutes. So I think the story is that Nestor winds up being in the major. I think he helps out. He helps out Mary, and I don't know if like he's the donkey that they're riding into before Jesus is born or whatever. I can't even remember that part, but I do remember little Nestor. He and his mother, like, they were ostracized because he's got these big long ears, and they have to go through this blizzard, and his mother protects him. This is a stop motion animated, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Okay. I'm just setting the scene. One of those. It was one of the batchy ones. and by sunup, she has died. She sheltered her body to protect him from the blizzard, and then she dies. And I was a kid, and I remember being just destroyed
Wow.
watching this. Uh, and I remember like watching the rest of it. Like I don't think I ever came back from the fact that his mom died, and that's also, as we all know, that was a thing. They would
Yeah.
often kill off parents a lot in a lot of children's storytelling. Something
Yep.
I always made a point of, like, no, mom and dad, they're okay. They
Yeah.
will not die. So that's one off the top of my head. I had to go back to when I was like little, and like Nestor the long-eared mule. His mom died. That was rough. That was rough right there. Um,
Yeah.
Other than that, man, there's all kinds of stuff. I was just shattered by Toy Story 3. Um, it took me
Yes.
years to figure out. Actually, I could not figure out why I was crying so hard at the end of Toy Story 3 when Andy gave away all his toys. It took me a while to
Mhm.
figure out, because he was ending his childhood. His
Yeah.
childhood was ending in this moment. He was giving up his toys and he had to move on. And I realized, oh, that's what it is. I'm a big kid, and the idea of like, oh, now you gotta go, now you gotta grow up. You gotta
Yeah.
grow up. Like, oh, that's what got to me.
That
And
that
I could
was
go
that
on.
that was hard. That was a hard swallow for me too. I'm gonna say something really obscure. Of course, Transformers, the movie, the '84 movie, uh, when like Prowl and Wheeljack and Ironhide get murked in the first 15 minutes of the film, and then Optimus Prime dies. I mean, like, people don't
You are not
understand,
the
like,
only one who talks about Optimus Prime dying there. You
bro.
are hardly alone. It was unexpected and devastating.
Nobody saw it coming because there was no internet to spoil anything.
Right.
And something really obscure. There was this cartoon called Brave Star. Do you remember Brave Star?
Yeah. I think I know that. Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
made by Filmation, the same guys who did Masters of the Universe
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
Ghostbusters. Not Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters, but Ghostbusters, one with the ape and that same
Right. Right. Right.
company. But
Mm-hmm.
Brave Star, there was like a drug episode, and it was this drug. I forgot the name of the drug, but they will pour it in the palm of your hand, and it'll be absorbed like this, and you can kind of see the kid. The animation is really crazy. It's on YouTube, and they
Okay.
show him overdose, and I'm
Oh,
like, I'm a kid. I'm like, what am I watching? And it just I will never ever forget that. But
sometimes I mean, I like to think we're a little bit better now that we
yeah,
understand. Like, there's a line in the storytelling where, that's just like shocking and hurtful. And someone would say, like, I think that might be too much. And it's like, a lot of times I think back then people just were not paying attention, and also not really thinking about kids.
nope,
There's something to be doing in an all ages story. And you have to figure out, you can have people die, you can have great loss and great injury, but there's a way of doing it where it doesn't knock you off your horse so hard that you can't, like, I can't get back into the story. I'm so sad. Like, that's what
yeah,
you don't want to do. Yeah.
yeah,
Sometimes it happens. It does.
yeah. Even with live action stuff, I remember I said, I'm gonna watch this film called Million Dollar Baby. I'm gonna see what the hype is all about. Okay, watching it, I'm like, oh, a
Spoilers,
roller coaster
spoilers.
of
Okay, but
emotions.
oh, yeah. No. Yeah, yes. You think $1 Million Baby is a boxing movie, and
Yeah,
then there's a whole other thing that happens, which I won't tell you
it's
about that one. Hold
it's
on,
it's
one
it's
sec,
a
kiddo.
whammy.
Okay,
It is
my
a whammy.
my, my children are home.
Oh, I'm sorry, but
One
hey,
sec. It's all good. We can wrap. Wait a sec. No, they just want to see what I was doing. Now tell them what I'm doing. We're good. We're good. So, but
I'm
yeah,
sorry, I didn't mean to keep you from your kids, but
I'm having
so
a good time, sir. I'm having a good time here. This is a good time.
awesome, dude. Thank you so much, man. So yes, you said just a reminder, the Hilo book is coming out February next year.
Uh,
Is there an exact date?
there is, but I can't remember. I want to say February 16th, maybe. Around there, like second week in February. I
Okay.
don't remember off the top of my head. It's okay. We got plenty of time. For those of you who don't know, the Hilo series is available everywhere they sell books. The new one comes out next February. I'm working on number 9 right now. like literally,
Sure.
like right over there. I'm gonna go over here, talk to my kid for 10 minutes, go back to drawing that. And it's a good time. But thank you, sir. It was a pleasure being back here, and congrats and congrats to you, sir. You've been at this for a while. This is a bit of a milestone, right? How
Yes,
long?
sir.
How long
One
has it been?
year. 1 year.
1 year. Yeah. So congrats. I hope
Thank
you're
you so
enjoying
much.
it.
I
Yeah.
really am. And this is going to be available on Spotify and
Hmm.
on YouTube. And again, thank you so much for taking your time to do it. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.